So meticulously living a role, you will never be free. Surface is perfect, what lies beneath? Hiding so long you may even believe. Take off that mask, what's underneath? You made me surprised at the answers you see. Take off your mask, show me outside. All of your secrets you need to a moment of courage, that moment of truth, the moment that finally consecrates you. Freedom to live, not defined by your fear. Freedom to love who you see in the mirror. Take off that mask, what's underneath? You made me surprised at the answers you see. Take off your mask, show me outside. All of your secrets you need to show me the ugly, show me the pretty, show me the petty, and show me the beauty. Show me the foolish, show me the genius, show me the lovely, and show me your weakness. All of these things you keep locked up inside. All that is you, all that you are. Take off that mask, what's underneath? You made me surprised at the answers you see. Take off your mask, show me outside. All of your secrets you need to take off that mask. Take off your mask. Take off your mask. There's nothing to hide.
Breaking news.
T-U-L-S-A
Jana, and 9. You wanted the dirt on Tulsa. You got it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tulsa Music Stream. This is episode 68, and we have live in studio Mr. Josey Scott from the fame of Saliva.
There he is.
Saliva fame.
There he is right there.
Make sure you share to your Facebook pages. Check out our YouTube platform. You can always hit the notification bell on that. Subscribe. We're also on Twitter and also Twitch. So yeah, the episode 68, man. How's everybody doing? This is 9. That's
Hi.
Jana, and we have Mr. Josey Scott. How you doing?
Do.
Happy December 1st to everybody.
Yeah, we're all doing well, and we've already had amazing conversation with Josey. I'm sorry you've missed some of it because it's already been as good as gold.
Right, we did the interview off here.
Yeah, we're done. Good night. No, we. It's so cool that he's here. You know, these are always fun to do, but they're always better when your guest is in studio with you. And Josey, we just want to say thank you for coming out tonight to be with us here on Tulsa Music Stream. I want to kick things off by showing these absolutely amazing pictures that Greg Shipman Photography just took of you. I'm going to put them up on screen.
That was him too.
You can see it back on the playback, Josey, but I'm putting them up on screen for our viewers right now.
Pimp.
Greg Shipman Photography, man, I mean, these are just absolutely stellar pictures of you. It's a great look. Like 9 said, the Shipmans did the branding for this show as well, and they are just top notch. You're looking fantastic in those. Let's talk a little bit about what you got going on. Is it a fair statement to say you are knee deep in the middle of rebranding yourself as Josey Scott, the solo artist?
I would say balls deep.
Balls deep. So you're not messing around.
Yeah. First of all, thank y'all for having me
Sure.
on your show. I really appreciate and I'm so grateful to be here in y'all's amazing studio.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
So
bud.
there ain't
State of
nothing
the art.
humble about this. You're all like, welcome to our humble studio. This is nothing humble about this.
Well, thanks,
This is
bro.
like one of the pimpest studios I've ever seen in
Oh,
my
hell
life.
yeah. Thanks, man.
But yeah, you know, very much balls deep in rebranding and getting everything going again, and really excited. And
Yeah.
the Shipman's photography, my gosh,
Amazing, huh?
Yeah,
What an eye.
I've learned to trust guys like him because, like he would tell me to do the weirdest things. Like I would be set in a certain way, and he'd be like, "Okay, turn your face to the left a little
Yes.
bit," and he'd be like, "Okay, tilt your head to the right." And I was like a little mannequin. Like
Yeah.
he kept moving me in all these positions.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What does this look like?" And then I saw the
Exactly.
proofs, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
hell?"
it feels so awkward at first when you're doing it, but then
Yeah.
you totally see why they had you do that. So
And it makes me feel sorry for like chicks who are models or whatever, because holding those positions,
yes,
you know,
Yes.
the most relentless training I've ever done is resistance training.
Yeah.
And part of that resistance training is holding a position for a long period of time. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do.
Totally, man. Well, so besides the photo shoot, and I do want to ask you one thing before I even get into this next question. I was doing a bunch of research on you, and now I know you don't really do a whole lot of online stuff yourself, but what is your official website address? Is it joseyscottrocks.com,
Yes.
not joseyscott.com?
No.
Okay, so when I went to joseyscottrocks.com, I didn't see anything yet. So is that in process and in the works?
That's in process.
Okay, that's
yeah.
cool. But we want to make sure people know to go to joseyscottrocks.com.
Yeah, everything,
Okay.
the rebranding is all Josey Scott Rocks. We've changed the Twitter to that. We've changed the Facebook to that, and we've changed the Instagram to that,
Okay.
and the TikTok to that. I'm sitting here trying to remember all
That's
these
all right.
names.
That's all right.
Social media, baby.
Do you make TikTok videos?
I do actually. I've it's just something that I've had to just make myself do.
It's kind of a necessary evil these
Yeah.
days
Absolutely.
because everybody does every kind of social media.
Right. Well, a great friend of mine, Malcolm Springer, who I hope is watching tonight.
Hi, Malcolm.
Big producer in Nashville. I was having a panic attack one day. It was the day I was recording my new single, Evil Knievel, and I was just having a panic attack, and I was like, I was like, all this stuff was hitting me, like all the stuff I've been through in the past couple of years, and I was crying and just having a breakdown, and he goes, "Come here, Josey, come here." And he's this rough talking old country boy, and he puts his hands on my shoulders. Look at me in my eyes, boy. Look at me.
Wow.
And I look at him, and he goes, "Where's that kid used to come in my studio and bug the shit out of me to record him with his little green notebook under his arm and his backpack on? Where's that little bastard at? Get him back. Get that sumbitch back that wrote Click, Click, Boom, that wrote Your Disease. Where's that little bastard at?" And he was scared me to death, like shocked my system. But I was like, you know what? That's true. What happened to that kid? Like, and then I just like retroactively started going back through my mind, and I was like, okay. I went back to that kid. I went back to the kid with the green notebook under his arm that used to write lyrics constantly.
So did you have to pull something up out of you? Did you have to eliminate some things from your mind?
I did. I had to pull it back to the surface and realize where that kid had gone. And you know, I've told people several times, you spend your life chasing that rabbit. Well, what do you do when you catch the fucking rabbit? You know, what do you do when you catch the rabbit? You caught it. Okay, what now?
Right.
What are we gonna do now? Are you gonna skin it? Are you gonna pet it? Are you gonna eat it? Or like, well, there's several options.
There's a few more.
And so I got lost in the options. I think after I had to prove myself on that first record, and the head of the label, Island Def Jam, I was telling you guys about Leor Cohen earlier. You know, he's like this Israeli special forces guy, and he's got this like Dolph Lundgren like accent, and he goes, "Josey, you've had your whole life to write your first album. You have 3 months to write your next record.
Yeah.
What will you show me?"
Oh, jeez.
And I was just like, oh God. But that little kid with the backpack and the green notebook, I was like, I'm gonna kick this so hard through the fucking field goal that I'm gonna murder this. So I was competitive. That's what happened to that kid. That fighting competitive. You knocked me down, but you might whoop my ass, but I'm gonna get up and keep on coming at you. And so I had to prove myself on that second record on Back Into Your System, and I think once I did that, because that shows it wasn't a fluke,
Right.
It was for a reason. I'm supposed to be here, and I think after that, you know, after Bloodstained Love Story, I just kind of, you know, there was all these lawyers and
Life happens.
Yeah,
Life.
and publishing companies, and they wanted to bring in different songwriters, and they're like, well, you know, this band's hot right now. Why don't you sound more like this band? I'm like, because I'm not fucking that band.
Yeah,
is why.
yeah.
So, but you know, like they say, my daddy used to say, too many cooks in the kitchen spoil the soup.
That's right.
And I just got too many cooks in the kitchen. And then once you throw drugs and alcohol and girls and money and fame into that mix, I just
You know, they say
threw my hands
they
up.
say that bands spent, you know, before they write their first album, they've had years to write and perfect these great songs, you know, and then the album comes out and has some hits on it, and then okay, well, let's have another one of those. And a lot of bands aren't able to pull that off. Their next album is trashy and shit. And when I went back listening to your discography, the singles are spread out. They're on all the albums, man. So it was consistent. It was consistent stuff. So
Well, I always tried which plays to my favor in how the industry is now these days, is I treated every song like it was a single. I knew I was smart enough to know that my mother used to say the answer to 2,000 questions is money. But I knew because of money and monetary push, all of them weren't going to be hits.
Right.
Because it wasn't meant to be like that. But I made up my mind in my heart and soul that I was going to give every song the attention that I would give an Always, or that I would give a Click Click Boom,
Right.
or Your Disease.
Sure.
And so I'm equally as proud of songs that weren't singles, like Bleed For Me, that was on a movie soundtrack, or song, the first song I got to sort of write and produce and everything myself. It's sort of like Bob Marlette. I was like a little boy. Bob Marlette let me sit in his lap and hold the steering wheel of the
Nice.
of the race car. But I got to record "Famous Monsters," was a song I was really proud of. And so I can lay my head on the pillow at night and know that I gave every song before I lost that interest after the third record, and so many other things got involved. I gave every song everything I had all the way up to that point. So I'm really proud of that body of work.
2003, I mean, with all the body of work, you landed on a Kiss and Aerosmith tour, which I told you earlier, I actually took a Greyhound bus all the way from Tulsa to Columbus, Ohio, and saw you at the Germain Amphitheater. And that's the first time I ever seen you guys live. And I think that was before Ladies and Gentlemen, I believe, 2003?
I think it was, yeah.
Anyway, I know you have lots of crazy stories for when you were on the road, but think about a monstrous tour with Aerosmith and Kiss, because prior to that, those two headliners going out and co-headlining wasn't much of a thing yet until after that, and that was like one of the first ones. And you had Motley Crue doing stuff, and everyone kind of teaming up after that. Tell me about some of the experiences you had on the road on that tour.
Well, the coolness leading up to it, I'll lead you into that story, but. So Paul talks about this in his book. I haven't read many books in my life, but I read Paul's book, Paul Stanley's book, and he mentions this in his book briefly. But so there was a knife fight with two roadies, one from Aerosmith and one from Kiss, in the 70s.
Right.
I remember.
And this was apparently
with Peter Criss or something.
Yeah, this was apparently a big deal, and they swore that they would never tour with each other again.
Oh, wow.
So, as the Eagles would say, hell froze over, and they...
Money talks.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my mother says.
Yep.
Saying click, click, boom. Why is my mother always right? They were talking about doing this co-headlining tour together. And we heard... Because at that time we were just touring. Like we went home for maybe a week every 3 to 6 months.
Jeez.
And so we heard on the bus, they were like, the tour manager came on the bus and he's like, hey, do you guys want to throw your name in the hat for the Kiss Aerosmith tour? And we were like, yeah.
Hell yes.
Of course.
And we were like, we'll never get it, but yes, of course, throw us in there. So we kind of kept touring and forgot about it. And then I think it was like 4 months from then, Scotty Ross, the famous Scotty Ross, loved that man. He was like a father to us. He was a famous tour manager for Van Halen, and he was the guy that helped with CeCe DeVille when he was in the throes of his drug problem and Poison. He was their tour manager. He was Journey's tour manager for years. So Scotty Ross came on the bus and he goes, so update. on the Kiss Aerosmith thing. So it's come down to you guys and Billy Idol.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And I was like, well, they're going to pick Billy Idol. Of course. The man has the word idol in his name, and he's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
So there, it's that I want to see that show, like Kiss, Aerosmith, and Billy Idol. I'm there, dude.
They wanted to bring in some new blood.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happened. This is what I was told. So they were having some kind of board meeting, and it was coming. It had come down to Saliva. They liked. Sorta, and Billy Idol, they were pretty much in love with the idea because they felt just like I felt. They were like, this is going to be a cool retro tour. Everybody will get it. You know, it's a whole thing. It'll make people reckon back to their days of youth. You know what I mean? And Gene Simmons' son.
Oh, wow.
Nick.
Oh, wow.
God love him.
God love him. He came in the room and he overheard his father talking to this table full of suits, I guess, and he ran up to his dad and he goes, "Dad, please, Saliva, please pick Saliva."
Wow.
And he goes, "Please do this for me. Just please pick Saliva. They're my favorite band right now. Please pick Saliva." And
Oh, my God.
that was
It happened.
There it
that
is.
was
So
the
you've
deciding
met
factor.
him, right? You've met
I
Nick.
have not met him.
Really?
I've heard that story, but I've always wanted to meet him. I mean, he grew up and his tastes,
Yeah.
went different. I'm sure different directions or whatever. And he I don't know if he'd admit that now,
Yeah.
but as a little kid, he sure did run up to his daddy and said, "Dad,
Man.
please pick Saliva."
You know,
so that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
With
I
that
guess.
tour, I think it was Joe Perry or something. He came out and he called them comic book rock or something like that. And then Paul had something to say. Well, it was funny that after we got done with our show, people were leaving in droves when during your set. I was there in Columbus. I didn't see any of that, but I mean, it was a hell of a show. I enjoyed all three bands. It was great because you had something fresh and new with you guys, and then Kiss, and then Aerosmith. I thought it was great.
Speaking to that though, like when you're opening for those two bands, and these guys are fucking legends from the '70s. What was the crowd? How was the reception towards you when they're there? Aerosmith, bring me Kiss. Were they receptive to Saliva?
Absolutely. And there was a few fans there as well. But it's like, it's like a gigantic house party that you're playing for a bunch of Kiss and Aerosmith fans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they certainly appreciated us, and they were very hospitable to us. I never felt the angst that I felt on other tours. Like, for instance, I'm dear friends with Stone Sour. We were on tour with Stone Sour in Europe, and we would go out on stage, and some of the European fans that were Slipknot fans would stand with their back to us
Jeez, man.
and hold up their middle finger the entire time we
Wow.
played.
Wow.
And it was just a smattering of them, but
Still.
and I get it, they're maggots, and I love it, and I get it, and that's totally metal. The rebellious spirit that made them do that. I'm all about it.
That's funny.
But yeah, so it wasn't like that on the Kiss Aerosmith tour.
Now, was that with Tommy and Eric Singer?
No,
Tommy and Peter.
And Peter,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Ace had
Just left.
He had just left,
Right.
Which I was sick about because the whole thing that made me want to do rock
Right.
and roll was sitting in my dad's. My dad was a preacher when I was a kid, and he had an assistant pastor. Was his son? He had a son that was the black sheep of the family. Who I partially wrote the song Black Sheep about.
Oh, wow.
And he used to, back in the 70s, you'd go over to someone's house and they'd play Monopoly after dinner, and then the kids would scurry off to the bedrooms. Well, I would run to this little kid named Kevin Brock's bedroom. He was I was 6 or 7 and he was 12, and he had like lava lamps and posters and fishnets hanging from his ceiling.
Wow.
And like it was just this nether world that I had, like it was like walking into another universe, because I had never even heard secular music,
Sure.
much
Wow.
less seen, this element of rock and roll.
And now, how would your parents have looked at you if they known you were running off to this guy's bedroom listening to that kind of stuff? And,
Well, see, that's what's crazy to me is they did know that.
Oh,
but
they did.
But they didn't stop it. And, like, I don't know. And they were Pentecostal parents, and not to disparage the Pentecostal religion, because I have the ultimate respect for them. But my parents were just cool like that, I guess. And I don't think they wanted to hurt Kevin's feelings, They were trying to be as loving and kind to him as they could be, while I was going through his Peaches album
yeah.
crate,
Right.
of all his records. And I remember flipping through, and it was like Boston, like Ted Nugent,
Yeah.
all the good shit.
Queen, and all these great records, and Led Zeppelin. And then I got to Kiss. I got to Destroyer.
Yeah.
And I pulled that record up out of the rest of them, and I just sat there mesmerized by that album cover. And Ace, I was like, why? My 2 favorite colors from that moment forward were silver and black, because of Ace Frehley.
I know.
That's the
Hey,
Raiders,
And
right?
that's why you got
And
the
that's
Raiders.
how I ended up being a
That's
Raiders
funny.
fan. I was like, why is he holding up 4 fingers? Why does he have those cool boots on?
Yeah.
Are they in hell? Like, what's happening on
Right,
this album
right.
cover? And I remember all the kids at that time in the 70s, they were asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the kids were like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. And I was like, whatever this is,
Yep, you and me both, buddy.
I want to be.
You sound like these two.
Yeah, absolutely,
I mean,
dude. We both are major
guys
Kiss.
all have
Ace
the
was
same
my
story.
favorite, and I think I told you this. And the reason Ace was my favorite was he looked the coolest, and my hair was the most like Ace's. It was straight, and I was like, okay, I can do this, man.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah,
there with
cool.
you, man.
Now, I want to put a picture up. Again, Josie, you'll see this on the replay if you watch it back. Let's talk a little bit about the reunion with the band that just happened in September. Here's this picture.
Blue Ridge Rock.
You're out there on stage looking like a badass with your cool Adidas jacket and your ripped up jeans. Tell us a little bit about, we know that the reunion itself didn't really materialize as far as like a permanent reunion, but tell us about that day, getting back with the guys on stage and how that came together and how it made you feel.
Well, it was amazing. I love all of those guys so much. I had just met the drummer that day, and she's a sweetheart, and was totally cool getting to meet her. I just love female rock musicians. It's just awesome to watch a woman get up there and play rock and roll and kill it the way they do. Present company not excluded. So I got to meet her. I finally ran into Bobby because I had avoided meeting him like the plague.
Okay.
Because it's not any shade towards Bobby.
Sure.
It's just...
Painful?
It's painful.
I understand.
It's like watching your ex-lover with
With a new guy.
With
Sure.
a new guy.
Sure.
And
Get it.
You don't want to see that, know?
No.
So, but actually, they say God works in mysterious ways. Well, during losing my son to COVID in May of 21, one of the main people that was there for me was Bobby's father. We became really close online, and he began to speak to me and just began to counsel me and really took time with me, and is just such a loving, kind, considerate, compassionate man.
Yeah.
And on the months leading up to Blue Ridge, we had talked about, what it would be like to see Bobby, his son, for the first time, and how was that going to go down. And he had expressed that he loved his son and that he cared for me very deeply, and that he wanted it to be a triumphant, beautiful, meeting or whatever. And I told him, I said, listen, I said, father to father, I'm going to take care of Bobby.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to reach out to him with just as much love and kindness as I would hope that anybody would, but certainly that his father would expect.
Right.
And I will reach out to him the same way I would expect you to reach out to my sons or my daughters.
Sure.
And there's this beautiful picture, not to get too mushy on you, but there's this beautiful picture of me and Bobby on stage after the songs I did, and we had this beautiful hug, and somebody snapped a picture, and they got it back to Bobby's dad. And he sent me that picture, and he said, I just want to thank you because this is a beautiful moment right here.
That's so great.
Yeah. It's sort of relieved both of our anxieties.
Okay. That's good.
But to speak of what an amazing woman my wife is, I think, when you train for a fight, when a boxer trains for a fight, it's all fun and games till you get in there and you feel that first blast from the champ. You know what I mean? And I wanted to go there and confidently have a reunion with my guys in Saliva, but I didn't want to overstep, and I didn't want it to be uncomfortable for Bobby in any kind of way. Yeah. So I have dealt with mental illness in my life several times, and I deal with panic attacks and anxiety and depression, and I think any artist worth his salt has his battles with
for sure
with mental health. So I started having a panic attack right beside the stage when it was leading up to my time.
Oh man!
And my wife stepped up in front of me just like Malcolm did that day in Nashville, and she grabbed my hands like this and she said, "Look at me, look at me." Look at me in my eyes, because my eyes were racing. Like I'm like a cat in a box when that's going on. And she said, "Look at me in my eyes. Look at me. It's just me and you. Look at me." And I looked at her and she said, "You belong here. Wow. You belong here."
Wow.
And I was like, I just let that sit for a minute, And I was like, "That's right."
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And not in an arrogant way,
right?
And not in a boastful way,
right?
But I just needed to take a couple of deep breaths and bring my mind back home to my body.
Sure.
This is one of my favorite Buddhist teachers says, I had to take a couple of deep breaths and bring my mind home to my body, and I had to let go of that anxiety. And her saying those 3 words, I want to get a tattoo of those 3 words because that is what helped me to walk on stage and be able to do that.
Man, that's awesome.
10 years of hibernation, you're out of the game for 10 years. You decided to try to get into the Christian community. I don't know if they accepted you or not. I don't know if they took you seriously. I don't know. Those are good questions. I don't know.
I have input on this also, so go ahead.
Oh God!
But you come back and I'm sure all the anxieties. 10 years. That's a long time. It's it's not. I mean, today it's not. It seems like 10 years go by quickly, but being out of the business that long, I'm sure a lot of things were just kind of like. I can't remember how to do this, and you said you had to get in shape. You had to do all these things to make sure that you were a force up there, or something to show the fans that you're back. And you said you lost your son. I don't know, losing him, did that make it your comeback more inspiring for you to do, or
Well,
did it set you back?
It didn't at first, because I can't. Any parent that has lost a child will tell you that, and there's a friend of mine, Laura Floyd, who's watching right now, that was a major advocate for me. She lost her daughter to the opioid crisis.
Oh, man.
I can't even
And
imagine.
she was a beautiful girl. She was a huge Saliva fan. She came out with her mother to every show, and it was just heartbreaking beyond anything that I could put into words, for her, obviously, and for me. But she was really there for me when I lost my son, and was a big advocate for making me get on the phone, and making me text, and making me function, and not forcing me to do anything,
Right.
but just saying, hey, this is reality. This is how it's going to be. Here's how you walk through this pain.
Yeah.
Here's how you don't lose your shit.
Right.
And because I needed somebody, like Bobby's dad helped me with the loving, kind, hey, I'm here for you sort of part of it.
Yeah.
And, and my wife helped me through the day-to-day of that, of, just being with me every day. And she was going through it. My children were going through it. They lost a brother, she
Right.
lost a son. And, but Laura helped me through, hey, I know you want to give up, because I want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
I know you want to crawl under the effing bed and just say,
Yeah.
fuck this world.
Sure.
But we lose the luxury of that when we have children. It was another thing my mother said to me one time. She said, we lose the luxury of leaving this world of our own recognizance when we have children.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
and I just thought to myself, I have other children to raise, and if it hadn't been for her, getting me through losing him, I don't think I would have been as successful as I was in getting through it, and still getting through it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the holidays coming up are awful,
It's probably something that
Thanksgiving.
you'll have to deal with the rest of your life. Probably.
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
When I was a little boy, my mother's house burned down, and my sister Rhonda said something that I'll never forget. She said, "There's going to be things that we're going to think of years from now that we lost today in this house fire, and we're going to stop and sob about it."
Yeah.
And that's sort of what it's like losing a child. I don't want to equate them as the same, because they're not, but I think back on things when he was a certain age, and when he choked on a French fry one time, and I had to sort of do the Heimlich maneuver on him, and things like that.
Yeah.
Playing with him at the zoo, and his favorite rap albums. He was a big hip hop guy. I thought of something the other day of wrestling around on the floor with him, and told my wife about it, and I just had to have a come apart about it, basically.
Yeah.
And it just comes out of nowhere, you know what I mean? And but at first, to answer your question, I thought it was a clear sign, because that was during the talks of, are we going to get the original 5 back together? Are we going to do this? And how's this going to work out? And what's going to be the logistics of all this? And then COVID itself happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Kobe Bryant happened, which
It was
really,
awful.
just really, really, really bothered me. And I was like,
too, man.
something shitty is coming, man. Something bad is coming. I just knew it was a bad omen for 2020, man.
Yeah.
And little did I know, I had no idea, because besides my son, I lost 7 other family members.
How old was your son?
He was 29,
Wow.
Too young.
And
Way
he-
too young.
and it killed him in 12 days.
Wow, bro.
He got sick, and 11 days later, his heart stopped.
I mean,
Man,
I imagine
we're so
that's
sorry.
that's got to make. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's you got to be a strong man to withstand that kind of pain, man. And I'm sure that it probably does make you stronger in ways, and some makes some of the other things in life that happen seem a little more petty after something like that
I
happens.
got to tell you too, Scott and I had a conversation before you got here, and we both were like, "Are we going to bring that up?" And I personally wasn't going to. I wanted to leave the door open to see if you wanted to talk about it, because this is still very fresh. I mean, this happened not long ago, but I think as you talk through it, I'm hoping that that's part of the grieving, and I hope you know how many people are here for you and care. I know you just met us, but man, you're a deep soul, and I can tell. And
Thank you.
one other comment I wanted to make. I don't want to dominate this interview. This is your interview, not mine. But I want to share something with you. I read that you were going to get into the Christian community, and I saw that someone kind of steered you away from it. They said, "Man, hey, be careful. There's vipers over there too." Well, it stands to reason, because there's money to make in the Christian community as well.
Oh, yeah.
I was in that community for 9 years, and I played. It was wonderful. I mean, it helped me hone my chops and learn how to songwrite, and it was great. But I distinctly remember hearing the Lord tell me, it's time for you to get out of this community, because all you're doing here is feeding the already fed. You need to go feed the hungry who are
Wow.
out there in the bars, the ones that are afraid to go to church because they don't feel accepted. They don't feel part of that crowd. So, my only thing I wanted to say to you, I hope whatever happened did not sour you on the faith. There's faith, and then there's religion, and I always tell these two guys it's two different things.
Yeah.
So I just want to encourage you, man, hang on to your faith no matter what, no matter how those people might have treated you. Just watch out for the vipers. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah.
And if it had, I think if it hadn't been for my faith, I wouldn't have made it. Because, I know that Cody had faith, and I know what I know. I know that he's okay. But at first, when he first passed, I was like, this is just another affirmation that I don't think I need to do this. I don't feel right about this.
Right.
This is not. I think this is God trying to tell me that this is not right, or this is
Sure.
not for me, or
Right.
this is not what is supposed to happen.
That's right, man.
And it it just kind of all blew up in my face after my son died. And I think I kind of let it blow up in my face because I just had no. I wasn't. I'm the type of person I always have to have some kind of inspiration to move forward, and I just didn't have that anymore. And I had a dream one night. I was so mad at God because I hadn't dreamed about my son since he had passed.
Right.
And I was like, this is bullshit. I haven't even had a dream about him. I want to know if he's okay. And I was having all this guilt and all the things that you go through as a that I've learned from other people who've lost children. You go through the cycle of anger, and then you go through the guilt, and then you go through the sadness, and then you go through blame, and then and it just comes back around. And then I had a dream one night, right after telling my wife, I was like, man, I don't understand why I can't dream about him. And my friend Tony West out in Los Angeles, he told me at the celebration of Cody's life, he said, you need to, because he had lost a lot of people in his life too, and been through a lot of stuff like this. And he said, you need to notice the butterflies and notice the birds and stuff around you, the dragonflies and different things. And I was like, man, you're crazy. You're an old hippie, man.
So those are going to be a sign.
Yeah, he goes, that's gonna be Cody. And he's one of the coolest cats I've ever known. He's an incredible singer, and he's in a band out in Los Angeles, and just incredible, charismatic. He's kind of like you, Nine. He's got the charisma and the look and everything.
You're too
man.
kind, man.
And he was there for me giving me advice and stuff when Cody passed.
Man, I'm gonna hug you after this show.
Yeah,
Just because it saddens me. I have one son, one kid, and I can't even imagine, man. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's tough.
I can't
man.
imagine.
That's the most common denominator I hear from everybody is they can't imagine. But the dream was I was laying. I woke up in the middle of this dream, and I was laying on the canvas of a boxing ring, and I was vertical, like, and I was like looking at my hands, and I was like, are those boxing gloves? Like, what? Where am I? Like, what's happening? But I could tell I was laying on the canvas, like, I was like, I'm knocked the fuck out. Like, somebody's knocked me the hell out.
Don't you have a video kind of like that, and you're in a boxing ring?
Of like, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then I felt something running out of my nose and my mouth. So I took the boxing glove and I was like touching my face, and there was blood running down the boxing glove. And I was like, somebody has trashed me, man. I've just been beat the hell up. But I couldn't get up. I was unable to get up. And I felt somebody lean down and behind me, and I heard, Dad, you got to get up.
Oh, wow.
Come on, Pops. Come on, Pops. You got to get up. And when I heard Pops, I was like, that's Cody.
Oh, my God.
That's undoubtedly Cody. And he said, you got to get up, Pops. Come on. You got to get up. Come on, Dad. Come on. And then I felt him horse collaring me, like pulling my collar like that. And he pulled me up, and I was desperately trying to turn around and look at him, and I tried to turn this way, and I couldn't make it, and I tried to turn this way, and I couldn't make it, and I was like, and when I turned around, I almost got to see his face, and I woke up.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
Wow.
But from that moment forward, I knew he was trying to tell me, you got to get up.
Keep moving.
And that he's okay.
Keep
Get
moving.
up. Yeah, he was telling me, I'm fine.
Yeah, he is.
You are not fine, however. You need to get your ass up.
Well,
and
you're
get
up,
back
my
to
friend.
work.
You're up.
Thank you.
Let's talk about what's going on. So you're recording, and you're putting a band together. So what's the plan for 23? What do you got on the canvas here?
You got new management, everything going on?
Yep. Some new management. David Montgomery is managing me right now. Another company, Red Alert, is
Wes Hoffman.
Wes Hoffman is helping me.
Now, what exactly do they do for you?
They are helping me rebrand and teaching me about how to, not just what social media is, but how you use it. Because I have purposely stayed away from all this for the past 10, 12 years because I wanted to focus on raising my kids. And I had, after we moved to Oklahoma, I figured out that I could take these classes and become a peer recovery support specialist. So I got to work for Grand Lake Mental Health here in town. I got to work for a place called 12 and 12 in Tulsa that helps. They help veterans get into rehabilitation, and they help people that are homeless, people that can't afford necessarily to go to a $30,000 rehab.
Right.
They help place them and give them resources, and not just for addiction, but for just mental health. If they have anxiety like me or depression like me, they can give them different resources. And once I figured out I could get involved in that, my cousin Katie told me about it, and I was like, bullshit. She was like, no, seriously, you can take these little classes and get your certification, and you can go to work for any of these places.
Wow.
And I was like, really? And then I did it, and it was so fulfilling and one of the most amazing jobs I ever had. And I still get emails and calls and text messages from people that thank God I was able to help or steer in the right direction. At 12 and 12 and at Grand Mental Health, as it's called now. But yeah, they're helping me. Red Alert's helping me rebrand everything, teaching me how to use social media and how you play the game nowadays.
Sure.
Yeah,
you know?
it is a game for sure.
Well, one thing that I when I first was introduced to you guys, I mean, the first few albums, I was a bit older. I got into, I like Click Click Boom. It's just a little the generation. But when I was listening to Lex and Terry. I don't know if you remember that their little radio show they have. They were from Jacksonville or something like that, and then they went to Dallas. And I don't remember if they were in Dallas at that point, but you were on Lex and Terry, and they played "Ladies and Gentlemen." And when I heard "Ladies and Gentlemen" that day, I was at work, and you were on there talking and everything, and I'd already seen you play live, so you guys you're cool to me. But when I heard "Ladies and Gentlemen," that's when I was like, okay, these guys absolutely rock. Because just the guitar was just heavy, and the whole megaphone
Yeah, very
thing,
cool.
the verses and everything was just killer. And so I would imagine like you were probably a little bit more in tune with doing radio shows and things like that before social media and all that stuff, So you kind of did a lot of interviews, radio stations, all that stuff. I mean, so you were socially good at doing interviews, right?
Very.
Well, I love talking, and I actually love doing interviews and stuff. I just had to, relearn how it's done these days.
Right,
Sure.
because it's completely different. It's all now typing,
Yeah, it's crazy.
So now that you've raised your kids for 10 years and you've been dad and you've done all these other things, you're ready to fucking go conquer the world again?
Absolutely.
You gonna play some shows this year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about your band.
Well, 9 is my bass player.
Hey, look at that. Congratulations.
Whoa.
Breaking news.
Dun, da, da.
Boom.
Wow.
Click, click, boom.
That's crazy, man.
So I'm looking forward to getting out and doing a bunch of shows at the beginning of 23. I'm going in the studio in a few weeks with Scatterbrains. He works with Struggle Jennings and is just an amazing artist in his own right, and he's gonna. We've recorded some stuff together with Struggle, and he wants to. We've always wanted to work with each other. Like, he's just a badass.
Yeah.
And he knows all the newfangled equipment that all the kids are using these
Right.
days. And all I know, like, I tell my managers this all the time. I'm like, look, dude, I'm good at 3 things. I know how to write, I know how to sing, and I know how to perform. That's where my skills end.
Yeah.
I want to say though, in me, now that I can say this, me and learning the songs that we're doing, I just was amazed at how many, and you may not feel this way about yourself, but how many different vocal styles you actually are able to. And I told you this. You sound like Marilyn Manson on something. You sound like Kurt Cobain, and you might slap the shit out of me later. But there was even a little bit of Fred Durst in some of the stuff too.
Nice.
And I was just impressed. I was like, wow, man.
Diverse.
Because you sound this way on one song, and then I play the next song. I'm like, wow, that is really badass.
And then
man.
I'm like, yeah!
Yeah, cool. What's up? Yeah. So
Wow.
that impressed me, and I told you that. I was like, man, this is great shit, man.
So as far as like going out and playing live, are you envisioning it being like you're gonna like do fly out dates on weekends and then back in town during the week, or what do you see happening there?
Well, there's a new style of touring these days called Weekend Warrior.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Quiet Riot does it all the time.
Yeah.
That you go out like on a Thursday and you play shows like through Sunday or Monday, and that's very attractive to me.
No kidding, man.
You know?
Yeah, same here.
Wow.
Because you get the coolness of the travel, and
Yeah.
you get to hang out with your homies, and
Sure.
you get to be on a bus and all the accoutrement, but you get to go home.
To your family.
Exactly.
That's the best of both worlds. man.
Absolutely, yeah.
God.
It's absolutely sort of the best of both worlds. And I had to promise the girls that my son Justice, he could care less. He wants to go with me. He's like, dude, what? You're going to Mexico City? Oh, I'm there.
Roadie.
We are there.
He's going to
Yeah.
carry your mic for you.
Oh yeah,
right?
he is about it. And then I got my other son, Dylan, Dynamite Dillon.
He's the
playing,
guitar player.
Rhythm guitar
Yeah.
for me. So I'm taking both sons with me. So all I got to worry about is the women in my life.
Oh yeah, and you do
So-
have to worry about that.
Oh yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah. I tell them all the time, being in love with 3 women is hard.
Yeah.
Hard work.
Yeah.
So you've collaborated with so many different musicians. You even wrote a song with Nikki Sixx. Of course, you've were nominated Grammys with
Jeez.
Chad from Nickelback, and just an awesome song.
Thank you.
And do you have plans to do some more collaborations going further?
Yeah, absolutely. I think collaborations are the fruit of all good music. I think when you put different artists together, good things can't help but come from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like they say, 2 heads are better than one. And I'm all about doing collaborations. I've got to collaborate with Jay-Z and Kanye West that we were talking about earlier.
Wow. Jeez.
I mean, that's like a monumental album blueprint. Their blueprint. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
huge,
dude.
and you're
Crazy.
on it. I mean,
it's crazy.
it's a huge album.
Well, what was funny is I went into the studio that day, and Jay-Z is like, "Man, come on in here, man. I'm gonna put you on this microphone. We're gonna set you up over here." He goes, "This is the producer right over here. He's the producer of the record. You may not know who he is, but he says he's gonna be the greatest rapper of all time."
Wow.
And I come over and he goes, "Hey, I'm Kanye West." And I
Holy
was like,
crap, dude.
"Hey, man, what's going
Wow.
on?" He goes, "I'm gonna be the greatest fucking rapper you've ever seen on the planet." And I was like,
Okay.
"Oh, okay."
10-4.
Wow.
just don't kill me.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No,
Take-
but he was a sweetheart.
So take us through how one would write a song with Nikki Sixx. How did that come about? Was it just
Well-
basically him sending you stuff, or was it?
I went to some drama happened. I won't go into it, and I was quietly told I had to go to rehab out in Los Angeles at Promises. So I was like, and then I was like, hell no, fuck rehab. And then I heard how cool Promises was, and I heard it was kind of like a 30-day vacation, and they had a chef. I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm going. What I get 30 days off, and I get to go to this place where people have a chef. Hell yeah. They got gourmet chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, man.
Nice.
But no, so I went to and Nikki the whole time. Well, I told the record company at the time, I said, because I thought they were kind of bullshitting me a little bit, and I kind of called their bluff, and I said, okay, if you really want me to do this, my idol is Nikki Sixx. So if you can get Nikki Sixx on the phone, I'll go do it.
Wow.
And
Wow.
hung up the phone. And not 10 minutes later, I'm sitting there. Me and Cody were sitting watching a movie, and like 7 minutes later, the phone rings. And I picked the phone up. I'm like, hello. He goes, what's up, bro? I was like, who is this? He goes, this is Nikki Sixx, man. And I was like,
Get the fuck out
get
of here.
the fuck. I was like, I almost started crying, man. But
Wow.
and I knew it was him because I was such a Nikki Sixx
You know his
fan.
voice.
The voice.
Knew
Yeah.
instantly knew
Yeah,
his voice.
got that LA voice.
And he goes, you got a black hole inside you, don't you? And I was like, I definitely have a black hole inside of me. I don't know what it's from, but yeah. And he goes, and you can't fill it with cars or money or chicks. And I said, check. Yeah. And he goes, I'm gonna help you fill that hole, man.
Wow.
We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna get you out here to LA, and we're gonna take you to a place that can fix you up and help you.
Wow.
And he was, from that moment forward, I went and packed a little bag. He said, just go to the airport. Don't call. Don't do anything. He said, it's all taken care of. Just go to the airport. Go to the desk. They're gonna give you your plane tickets. You will be out here with me in 4 hours.
Wow.
And he goes, and party it up on the plane. He goes, don't skimp on the partying on the plane. He goes, go ahead and have a good time.
Is that right?
Yeah, he said,
Because you're not going to have one.
yeah,
Oh, man.
Because you're gonna be without for a while.
Little did I know
Yeah.
they were going to shut everything down. But he goes, yeah, go ahead and have a good time on the plane. And I was like, oh, you got it.
So you get
Don't
off the
threaten
plane.
me with a good time.
You get off the plane, and Nikki Sixx is there waiting for you.
got off the plane in Los Angeles. Went to get my bag, and there he was.
Wow.
Goodness
and,
sakes.
Yeah,
Well, that's a nice guy, man. I mean, that's
sweetheart.
Yeah.
And him and the guy that actually got Steven Tyler sober, he passed away in 2007. But they both took me to Promises and made sure I was okay and, got me moved in and everything. And he said, I'll come and visit you when I can. And I was like, okay. And the people at Promises were like, yeah, you guys can have family come visit on Saturdays or every other Saturday or something like that. And he said, well, I'm his family. I'll come
Wow.
visit him.
Wow.
That's so cool.
And he came to visit me, and we would sit. We would like he would bring me cigarettes and Red Bull, which is a big deal in rehab. Apparently, it's like the closest thing to dope
Exactly.
that you can get. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So he brought me cigarettes and Red Bull, and I was just sitting there at the table with him, and I remember sitting there and looking at him, and I said, I'm so sorry for staring at you. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I said, I just can't take my eyes off of you, man.
Man crush.
I said, I've such a man crush, and you are my idol, bro. Like, I dressed like him, did my hair like him, did my makeup like everything,
Yeah.
dude. Like, tried to mimic his outfits to, like, I was one of those snobby Motley Crue fans, dude.
Right.
Like,
Wow.
everything had to be perfect. Like, me and my best friend, William Carroll, would sleep outside for Motley Crue tickets, and we wouldn't leave until we had front row center.
There you go.
Like, every time.
Man.
Back when Ticketmaster was cool.
Right.
Man,
So-
that's amazing.
That's cool.
You've done so many things, and you've achieved so much more than your typical musician.
Us.
I mean, right? But what is your goal for your comeback?
Yeah.
What will make you happy?
question.
And do you have critics that want to see you not succeed?
Absolutely. That's a great question,
Fuck
man.
those guys.
That's a great question.
I saved it for
I think you always have haters. You're always going to have haters and deniers and people that don't want to see you do well. But I think when you have haters, you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said that even when someone's talking bad about you, it's because they're paying attention. They're
Right.
doing something.
Yeah,
All right.
totally, dude.
Yeah.
I had something happen in the press where I was getting some bad press or whatever, and my mother told me, she said, well, at least they're talking about you, sweetie.
Exactly.
Boy,
exactly.
your mama was smart, wasn't
Yeah.
she?
Yeah.
She's real smart.
Wow.
But such a great question. Thank you.
Is the end game to be back in Saliva?
No, I am not opposed to doing some shows, reuniting with them.
Sure.
I love Wayne Sweeney to death. He's me and him are like, we used to call each other the Toxic Twins, the sequel.
The guitars.
That's funny because
Yeah.
I had a guitar player and we also referred to ourselves as the same thing. Not the sequel, just
I
You
think
know.
me and you may be the threequel.
Now
We
listen,
might- we might.
don't need another trip to Promises,
yeah,
fellas,
yeah.
okay?
We'll be,
Yeah, no
we'll be
doubt.
going together. Hey, Nikki, how you doing, bud?
You guys need some good, strong women out there on the
Brought
road.
a friend
don't
this time with me.
you? Okay, so to finish your answer, go ahead.
I just want to, like I said, I'm not opposed to doing whatever makes the fans happy. At the end of the day, it really is, not to sound stereotypical or whatever, but at the end of the day, it is all about the fans for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about. It's not even about the money or the fame or any of that at this point. it's about the healing power of music, and it's about the fans that the biggest common denominator I hear them say to me is, your music got me through A, B, and C. Your music got me through this. And that's the biggest compliment someone could ever give me. This girl told me one time at a meet and greet, she said, you kept a shotgun out of my mouth.
Oh my
Wow.
God, it's so heavy.
Yeah, music is like that to me. I've always said that. I mean, sometimes when I hear a song from when I was a teenager, man, I can almost smell the smells of that time and almost feel the exact same feelings I was feeling when I was that age. And that's what I love about music. So that is so great that that it does that for people, man. Because some people don't feel music. Some people just like,
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, say the whirlwind hits you again with all you're suddenly getting Grammys again, and you're on top of the world again. Do you feel like you're more mature now, a little more older, wiser to handle that sort of pressure than say you were the first go around?
Well, absolutely, because before I was only living for myself,
Yeah.
and I didn't plan on living past 35, but I did.
Right.
And now I have children, and anybody that knows me knows that the most important thing to me in my life is my family.
Absolutely.
And I take it very seriously that I have a wife and 2 daughters and a 16-year-old son and 2 stepchildren to answer to. And as long as they're by my side, I'm gonna do my best to provide for them in the as they, what do the divorce lawyers say, in the company, in the way that, in the fashion that they're
Right.
accustomed to.
Accustomed
That's
to.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the fashion that they're accustomed to. Couldn't get the words out of my mouth, but yeah, as long as they're by my side, I'm gonna take care of them in the fashion that I have been blessed to be able to take care of them. But as far as success, I've always felt super competitive. I've always had a super competitive spirit. I don't want to. I want to aim high.
Yeah.
I always try to over aim and overcompensate. Like when I
Totally.
got my wife, when I fell in love with my wife, I was playing way out of my league, dude. Way out of my league. You know what I mean? I had no game with women and just had absolutely just no game at all. The only thing I had was I was in a band,
Right.
And
I know
That only
I know
gets
the
you so
feeling.
far.
I thought, man, I'm gonna shoot my shot while I'm up here, because I don't think this is gonna last forever. I was smart enough to know that my dumb ass was probably gonna screw it up some way, so I was gonna go ahead and shoot my shot. So when I met my wife, I was like, man, I'll never forget it. It was May 29th, 2003, right here at the Voodoo Room in Tulsa,
Oh
Oklahoma.
wow, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
We had to get up, and Scotty Ross woke us up that morning, and he said, "Listen, fellas, they're playing that song you wrote with Nikki Sixx, Rest in Pieces, here on the radio in Tulsa. And you're going to have to get up and go learn the damn song, because I know you assholes haven't played it since you recorded it 6 months ago. So you're going to have to actually wake up and go in there and pretend to sound check, but actually learn this song," which was totally true.
Yeah.
So we got up and went into sound check. But if it weren't for that, it shows you how God plans stuff all the way back to Nikki Sixx, because Nikki said, "Hey, I got this song called Rest in Pieces." I was like, "Wow, that's a cool song title." And then we recorded the song, and then he came and did the video, and I got to meet my idol and all these things. And then later on down the road, we recorded the song, and we had to get up that day and go into relearn it, because that was true. We hadn't played it in 6 months since we'd recorded it, and we needed to brush up a little bit on it. And because we went in to brush up on Rest in Pieces, boom, my wife walked in.
It's all a plan. That's so amazing.
Now, you brought up Slipknot, and I mean, I wanted to ask you, was it fair, or did you embrace the genre, the term nu metal? Did you felt like you guys felt in that, you belonged in that category, or did you think you guys were something different and they just kind of put that label on you? I
never really paid that much attention to it. I loved the fact that they would put us in any, as they say, just, I don't care what you call me, just make sure you call me.
Talk about me.
At dinner time, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I never was hung up on labels or whatever. I definitely got how they arrived at that. You know, I always considered us, we called it Dirty South. We called it that Dirty South bounce, that Seven Dust, bouncy,
Sure.
I love them.
boom, 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 that thing,
Right.
But so we thought of it as that. And we had been playing this style since the late 90s.
Right.
Ever since we heard Rage Against the Machine's first record, we were like, oh, okay, everybody change everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Once I heard that record, I was like, okay. Because when I was growing up, like I was telling you guys earlier, I didn't have access to really a lot of heavy metal music or rock music. But what I did have access to was like the AC/DC Back in Black album, mainstays like that. And the other thing I had to hang on to was pop radio, because I wasn't allowed to have albums. So I hung on to Casey Kasem's Top 40.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where my songwriting came from. And more often than not, when I was in the studio, the knee-jerk things I would do in my songwriting were from pop radio. They weren't from rock.
Right.
They were from pop, which again, I believe there was a plan the whole time, because I think if I had just done rock, I would have been subjugated to just this, little bucket of tools.
Yeah.
But because I had that pop college, basically, I had a lot more tools and influences to pull from, because I think it's hilarious when some people say their influences are, my influences are this and that, and I thought, I used to sit on the bus and go, well, what are my influences? My influences are like Duran Duran and Whitney Houston and Phil Collins and Chicago.
All the top 40, 80s stuff.
Yeah, like all the 80s stuff.
Yeah.
Like Duran Duran.
I mean, I remember having
Tears
cassette
for Fears
tapes like that, man. I made cassette tapes
Sure.
off the radio with those kind of songs. Rockwell, Somebody's Watching Me,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then I got older and I was like, what the hell was I doing, man? But I had probably She-Bop on there or some shit like that.
You know what,
So-
though? I bet every single one of those influences somehow interweaves
Absolutely.
its way into
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
do now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Anything that grabbed my ears, like, like take on
Sure.
me,
Sure.
Aha.
Yeah.
Take on me.
Yeah.
I was
I'll tell
like-
you what, one of my guilty pleasures is, and I've loved this song my whole life, is Voices Carry by Till Tuesday.
Oh,
hell
dude,
yeah.
yeah, I
love
love
that
it.
song.
It's eerie.
Oh, I
Love
love
it.
I love the motels and
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
all that weird 80s new wave shit.
Only the lonely.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Quarter flash.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, man.
And my favorite was oh my god, she was all
Adamant.
No.
the badass drummer DeBazio, what's his name?
Oh, you mean Missing Persons?
Missing Persons.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Del Bazio.
Good stuff.
Weird
Terry
shit, but I
Bozzio.
loved it. You know,
Joan Jett. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Guys,
Rita Ford, all
we've
that
been
stuff.
on for an
Let's
hour
do some.
and 5
You got
minutes.
some viewer
It's
questions,
amazing.
Scott?
Well,
well,
I asked for some. I actually didn't see any. Everybody's just saying what a great interview this is.
I wanted to say how great it is to play your songs.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if you ever talk to people who've covered your tunes, but we've done it for years. And ladies and gentlemen, it's always a great third set ender. Just fucking hit them hard in the face, and then you're done. And Click Click Boom was another one of those. And we're going to relearn Ladies and Gentlemen. So if you're ever around and about and you come see our band, you're definitely going to get up there and do our thing.
I just slipped him a 20. He'll be there.
Oh, there you go.
I would love that, man.
It'd be fun.
But yeah, it's always a fun. I bring out the megaphone, and just do it right, and it's just always just a banger every single time.
You know what I love about songs like that? Something Nikki Sixx told me one time. He goes, "Dude, if you don't write it in 5 minutes, you just don't
You have to think too much about it.
Yeah. And when I sat down, when we had recorded the music for Ladies and Gentlemen, I sat down and me and Bob Marlette listened to it, and I was like, what if I did like a circus? Like, what if I was like, wait, what? Just tell me if this sounds crazy. I was like, what if I was like one of those top hat guys, and I was like, welcome to the show, like,
right.
Brilliant.
He goes, and he was sitting there with his cigar, and he goes,
Oh my God.
Bob Marlette is the best,
fucking
man.
funny.
He goes, anytime you'd hit that vein, he was a guy who was like violently sober. Never smoked a cigarette in his life. Never drank a glass of wine. Never did drugs. None of that. But he loved to smoke Cuban cigars. And when you would hit that creative vein, and he knew you were in that vein, and it was flowing, he'd do that little Beavis and Butthead.
I was going to say
That's what it reminded me of too. That's so awesome, man.
Phil Anselmo left him a voicemail one time. He goes, "Hey Bob, put down the fucking cheeseburger long enough to call me back."
Oh my God, that's great.
That's awesome.
We do have a couple. We're going to start wrapping this up. I don't want to cut you guys off. If you have more, just tell me to shut up. But we do have a couple viewer questions
We got
here.
a couple more hours worth of stuff.
Laura Floyd says, "What about the acting bug? Maybe do that again."
Yeah, actually, I was talking to my manager about, I don't know how much I can talk about it, but I've always wanted to play a bad guy in a Western.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I've been like really focusing a lot of my energy on manifesting that. Well, there's this opportunity coming up with, I believe, with Henry Winkler, something to do with
Oh,
a project
wow.
that he's involved in. And it's something around Wyatt Earp and the James Gang type thing. And they're talking to us about me playing the bad guy. So
That would be cool.
That'd
I'm
be
really,
fun.
really excited about that, because that'd be like a dream come
Henry
true.
No
Winkler. I mean,
kidding.
we grew up with that guy. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have a cool room back there where we play video games. When you bust out the
You guys have the
2003
most awesome house.
Tiger
thanks,
Woods. Yeah,
2003.
2003 Tiger Woods, and we'll have to like get your character up there and
Yeah, we've never found it. Like,
Well, you got to type in superstar.
Oh crap. Okay.
Oh, really?
All right.
Yeah.
You have a
Cheat-
character on there.
little cheat
It's
code.
hidden.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
The only thing is, I'm left-handed, and I asked when I had to put the suit on, and they put the little
Yeah.
golf balls all over you.
Wow.
And because they wanted to record my swing, and I was like, "Well, I'm left-handed," and they were like, "Well, okay, well let's just record it both ways, and we'll see what happens." And I know in entertainment lingo that means we're gonna
gonna
do
u-
it.
yeah.
We're gonna do you right-handed,
Yeah.
but we'll appease you.
Yeah.
And do.
Yeah.
But actually, they had a good reason. They said, "We'd love to make you left-handed, but to do that, we would have to deprogram the whole game and go back in and sort of recode you as the only left-hander in the entire game." And I was like, okay, bro, just make me right. I'm just glad to be here.
Wow, that's
You know
cool.
what
I thought Phil Mickelson was also left-handed. Is he not in the game? Maybe.
I don't know.
We're
He
getting
is.
in the
He is
weeds here.
left-handed.
I'm sorry.
That's a
Yeah.
good question.
Now,
Yeah.
January 20th, you'll be at the venue here in Tulsa.
Nice.
The venue Shrine,
And
right?
during the summer, you played at
Vinny Shrine.
Joe's.
Safari Joe's.
Safari Joe's.
Oh yeah.
You know the funny thing about that,
Love
before I
Safari
met
Joe.
you, I live close to there. And it's funny, when the fair's in town, I can go outside and hear all the music and whatever. So I remember the night that you were playing up there. I remember stepping outside and I couldn't make out the songs.
This
but-
is a neighborhood, by the way.
Yeah, I'm in a neighborhood by the fairgrounds or by Safari Joe's, and I could hear it. I could hear it being played over there. I couldn't make any of it out, but I knew who was playing because I'd seen it on the. So
We have such a great relationship with Safari Joe. You know, he came to our wedding at
wow.
Graceland. Yeah, we got married at Elvis's house back in 2004.
that's cool.
Did he pull up in a golf cart?
1 year to the day. I'm sure it was a freaking Lamborghini or something. I've never not seen him in a nice car. But
Well,
yeah, he came to our wedding.
One more quick viewer question. Sorry, guys, we need to wrap this up here. Ronnie Jernigan says, what music do you listen to today?
Do you like new bands?
I do.
Who do you like?
Well, my sons are both Justice and Dynamite DeLone are both musicians, so I get exposed to a lot. Tool, I love Tool. Went and saw them live. Unbelievable. Just their drummer is the absolute best drummer I've ever seen in my life. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I love Falling in Reverse. I love Seven Dust, of course. There's some new bands out there that I really, really love. I love a lot of electronic music. I love
wow. Really?
Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails and that whole genre of music. There's a new band that I'm stuck on right now called The Paper Kites.
Wow.
And they are just breathtaking. They're from Australia. And if I had to pick music that I would listen to on some desert island somewhere, it would be like the most easy listening stuff you guys have probably ever heard.
You got your Fleetwood Mac on.
It would be
that's so cool.
some
Check that out.
70s AM gold.
Go full screen with that. There you go.
I did.
Fleetwood Mac.
That's really nice.
Rest in peace, Christine.
Kidding.
So
Christine.
we also have a couple other questions. Any dates? This is from John Gleason. Any dates in West Tennessee? I'm sure you would love to go back there.
No dates as of right now, but we're working on getting some stuff hammered out.
Cool.
Very soon.
Christy McCutcheon, she's from the Rocklahoma group called Rocklahoma Bitches. She says, we love the Shrine, and she says, probably talking about the water park, says we only went because he was playing there. So, man,
I did see one that I wanted to.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? That's a good question.
Goonies.
I love the Elvis movie.
Boy, it's good.
That is
isn't it?
good, isn't it?
Yeah,
Wow.
Baz Luhrmann is one of my. I mean, my second favorite movie is a Baz Luhrmann movie. It's Great Gatsby.
Wow.
That question was from Kevin Jackson. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Let me kind of wrap things up with something that Bernadette Goodman said. And I'm not saying this because you're sitting 10 feet away from me. I truly feel this way too. She says, in my opinion, this has to be one of the best interviews so far. We've done 68 of these now. And seriously, let me there we go. This has been amazing. I mean, some of these guys come on and they're great, but you've gotten real deep with us, and it's been meaningful.
Well, thank you.
And thanks for being such an awesome interview, man. Definitely.
Thank y'all for being
Yeah.
awesome
And,
interviewers.
We would love to have you over at a swim party this summer.
Safari
Yeah.
Squires.
Safari
Safari Squires.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
here.
Safari Scots.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's so
We're
cool.
we're good people, man. We're always out playing, and we've known this guy forever, and so this is what we do, rock and roll, man.
Dude, once my kids figure out you have a pool, you'll be
It's game over.
you'll be trying to get rid of us.
Need to clear out the spare bedrooms and make room for them.
Hey, it's the best way to stay in shape is go out there and swim. That'll work every damn muscle that
That's
you
right.
That you even have.
They say there's
sure.
only 2 exercises that use every muscle in
I
your
like
body.
both of them. I like both of them.
I like both of them.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Guys, make sure you support Josey Scott in everything that he's doing right now and coming up. It's going to be amazing. Lots of things going on, new recordings, dates coming up. Remember to visit not just Facebook.com/Josey Scott Rocks, but that website will be up soon as well.
I guess I'll be seeing you tomorrow night.
Yeah, these guys gotta do some rehearsing.
January 20th at the venue, and that's Paul Stanley's birthday.
We need
by
to
the
start
way.
calling that the Shrine.
It is.
Is it called the Shrine?
It's called
now?
Venue Shrine.
Venue
Yeah.
Shrine. So give that date one more time, Scott.
January 20th, Paul Stanley's birthday.
Fantastic.
January 20th.
He's a
Go out there.
Capricorn.
It's a Capricorn. Yeah,
Okay.
I was just thinking that.
She's a Cancer. She saw his picture in a music magazine.
That's right.
We want to give a shout out real quick to our sponsors who make this show possible. Thank you, Dustin Little, for all your support. Okie PC, if you guys have any IT needs at all, you can call 918-640-0892 or email Dustin at dustin@okiepc.com. Thank you, Identity Merch, for your support. If you guys want to pick up a Tulsa Music Stream shirt or hoodie, you can visit the online store on our Facebook page. Go there. Thank you, Sycamo Filmworks. And we also want to give a shout out to Greg Shipman. Nice job on Josey's pictures.
Such
and,
a great job.
Yeah.
And we thank you so much for the branding you did on this show.
And thank you, Red Alert. I think they're been watching the stream.
Yes.
And
Red Alert.
I was going to say thank you, Wes Hoffman, for paying for it.
Hell yeah.
yeah,
He's
there you
going to
go.
take good care of Josey, and we're gonna see some amazing things coming down the pike for him. So,
Yes, sir.
guys, thank you so much for supporting the stream. We don't have anything lined up right now, but we're going to get to work.
Well, it's Christmas time.
Yeah, we're going to
But-
get to work and start getting some new stuff lined up for the first of the year. In the meantime, make sure you get out and support local music.
Yes, sir.
Support music everywhere.
One
It's,
last thing.
Yes.
Poison. You got on stage. You rocked out with Poison. You rocked out with Bret Michaels. You got to check out our show, which was awesome. It was great to meet you that night. What the hell? How does that happen? How does that happen?
He is just a sweetheart. Like every time I have ever went and seen him, he's always asked me to get up and sing a song with him, whether it's with Poison or with his band, Bret Michaels. He always asked me to get up and do a song. And I made the mistake one time of saying, like, I think I was sick or something one time, and I was like, I don't really feel up to it, and I turned him down, and I think he was
Got
a little
offended.
upset at me. Yeah.
What if
And
you're
I would
his
never-
man crush? What
I
if
would
you're
never-
his man crush?
I would never hurt his feelings. He is one of the sweetest,
Yeah.
kindest. And he won The Apprentice, for God's sakes.
Right.
He went on that show and fucking won it.
Not an easy feat.
Not an easy feat.
Okay, well,
So-
don't turn
And
down.
can I
Bret
just say what a freaking amazing guitar player you are?
Stop.
Just
There you go,
She
Jim.
is. She is. She is definitely.
You know what? I got it. Okay, now that you're here, and I would have to dig up the messages. They're old by now, but I blew it because there was a time when someone was sniffing around about me trying out for you.
really.
I think so. But you know, it's okay. I'm going to send him in my place.
I
He's
mean,
going to do fine.
you know, I'm doing it. I'm doing it with Jenna's spirit running through me. So
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, hey,
don't take the grumpy part with you.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Look, if it's a possibility, you got to come jam with me
you know,
sometime.
man, I mean, my
You
day
should.
job, my 401k, I got to pay for this place. I love you, but
You know, it was a
know.
pleasure having
Such a
you
pleasure
here with us,
to be with
and
you guys tonight.
I feel like I can sit and just listen to your stories
yeah.
all fucking night long. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
me
it's
too.
one of those deals, man. And I bet you have just a bucket barrel full.
I got some good ones. I don't know how many of them I should tell, but
Right.
We'll save that for the next
Start
one.
getting some
yes,
emails.
Save
you
that
know.
for part 2.
right.
Guys, we love you so much. Please support Josey and
Thanks,
all
Josey.
he does out there.
Yeah,
we'll
thank
see
you.
you first part of the year, we hope, sometime soon. You guys have a great Christmas. Have a great New Year. We love you. Thank you for watching Tulsa Music Stream. Remember, guys, if you missed part of this, you can catch the replay. As soon as we go off air, it'll be available. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Awesome. Thank you.